RetroDaze.
The 1980s saw an explosion of marketing directly to kids, with cartoons, toy lines, video games, and all manner of cross-promotional advertising taking over the airwaves. Now, one might assume that meant advertisers were also taking advantage of the growing kid market through the creation of fan clubs for every conceivable franchise. It turns out that's one trick most corporations missed.
Of course, there were still a few noteworthy memberships, and in this installment of Nostalgic Fan Clubs, we've found every oasis worth visiting in the vast desert of the 1980s. Those who've watched the first installment of Nostalgic Fan Clubs will remember that the majority of fan clubs in the 1970s were related to Star Trek. So it probably won't surprise you that this trend continued into the 1980s with roughly 37 active groups, not including another 10 that focused on specific actors from the series. Many more fan clubs in the 70s also focused on genre television and movies, specifically the likes of Star Wars, Doctor Who, and Battlestar Galactica, among others. Another trend was the overall decrease in fan clubs, going from a total of 172 in the 70s to 96 in the 80s, according to fanlore.org. But that didn't mean there weren't a few memorable clubs to emerge that rivaled the best the 70s had to offer. NBC premiered the television show The ATeam on January 23, 1983, to an average 20 to 24% of American households. Through its first season, the show remained in the top 10, and by the third season was the third most popular television show in America. The ATeam, along with his cartoon which premiered the same year, is also notable for increasing Mr. T's star power after a breakthrough role in Rocky. Between his starring role, cartoon, toys, and breakfast cereal, Mr. T, with or without the ATeam, was an essential part of the 1980s landscape. Hell, while playing Santa Claus at the White House, Nancy Reagan sat on his lap and kissed him on the forehead. I'm pretty sure the only other actor she ever did that for was old Ronnie, but don't quote me on that. With an abundance of action, over-the-top violence, unique characters, and memorable catchphrases, it's no wonder viewers of the 1980s became fans. And with fans come fan clubs. Information about the ATeam fan club is sparse, but it appears to have been founded sometime during the second season. According to a user on the ATeam fan forum, membership in the club came with a membership card, exclusive postcards, photos, posters, a certificate of official membership, the official newsletter, of which he states there were only 4 issues, all enclosed in a special satchel-style folio. Muddying the waters a little, fanlore.org lists another club called the ATeam Fan Society, which was a German club that started in 1987 and later opened to worldwide membership. The newsletter, Baracus News, was originally published in German and later in English as well. They ran through at least 1997, though it's unclear when and if the club ever disbanded. It should come as no surprise that one of the most popular 80s cartoons, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, had its own fan club. Or did it? Thinking a cartoon with a mountain of merchandise, see our recent episode about toys that defined the 80s, also had a fan club is a fair assumption. We may even be able to implant a Mandela effect memory directly into your central cortex, because of course He-Man had a fan club, and you totally remember its existence. The franchise basically blanketed the decade with toys, and there's no way Mattel would miss a trick this obvious. Even the website 80skids.com lists the Masters of the Universe fan club in their article, 8 Amazing Fan Clubs All 80s Kids Will Remember, alongside a picture of a sign-up sheet for the club. So, case closed, right? Well, not so fast. If you're kicking your younger self square in the pants for somehow missing out on such an iconic and obviously exclusive club, go easy on the poor kid. It turns out that this particular club was exclusive to the UK, and even then, an offshoot of the comic series rather than the toy line or cartoon. The aforementioned sign-up sheet actually comes from the UK Masters of the Universe comic, issue 48, published in 1988. The club does sound pretty epic, though. Every member was given their own Eternian name and a special membership kit, quote, packed full of exciting things to do. The advertisement goes on to list the mind-blowing contents, which included a membership certificate, membership card, club badge, personal letter from He-Man, He-Man hit single flexi disc, battle armor kit, height chart, and a board game. Not to mention, every 4 months you would receive a newsletter called The Legend of Eternia. Not bad for a measly £2.99. With a classic fairy tale that's been adapted countless times, it may not be immediately apparent which version of Beauty and the Beast had a fan club. You may guess that it was the animated Disney classic, and that would be a solid assumption, but it would also be wrong. In 1987, CBS premiered the fantasy drama television series Beauty and the Beast, which ran for 3 seasons until its cancellation in 1990. During its first season, the show just barely cracked the top 50 with a Nielsen rating of 13.1, and they only dropped from there with a 10.4 in Season 2 and a 9.5 in Season 3, landing in the 68th overall position. And yet, the show garnered generally favorable reviews as a dedicated fan base grew. These fans not only helped to ensure a 3rd season, but also branched out, creating a huge number of fanzines, which often contained fan fiction based on the series. There were so many, in fact, that Elizabeth Helm created the Beauty and the Beast Buyer's Guide to Fanzines, containing a 157-page index to Beauty and the Beast zines. It was in this guidebook one could find a flyer for the Beauty and the Beast Fan Club, which was established in 1989. The advertisement stated the going rate, $16 in the US, and included swag, a membership kit, quarterly newsletter, Winterfest gift, and access to a 24-hour information telephone service. Man, those were the days, weren't they? No quick search on the internet for information. Nope, you had to find fanzines in a guidebook and call hotlines for the lowdown on your favorite television show. Speaking of which, let's see. Episode about telephone hotlines. Got it. In 1980, the American rock group REM was formed in Athens, Georgia, with members Michael Stipe, Peter Buck, Mike Mills, and Bill Berry. Their unique sound and style, a blend of melodic rock and impressionistic folk, brought the band considerable success, and by 1984, still years away from their 91 Grammy nomination for Out of Time and Billboard Music win for Top Modern Rock Artist, they started their fan club, which would grow to over 10,000 members. Whether or not you remember the fan club, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you certainly remember such hits as Losing My Religion and It's the End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine. Even so, there's at least some people who not only remember the club, but consider it one of the best. An article on 80skids.com poses the question, was the REM fan club the best fan club ever, before listing all the reasons they feel quite certain it was. A $10 buy-in would get you a year's membership, which included periodic newsletters, which, according to the article, were full of all the latest band news, single or album release dates, tour dates, TV appearances, charity work, band interviews, posters, and handwritten letters from band members. However, it appears the true draw was the band's Christmas packages, which, remember, were part of the measly $10 membership fee. These admittedly incredible mailers would be packed with all kinds of possibilities like stickers, patches, calendars, and pictures. But that's not all. They also sent exclusive 7-inch records and eventually CDs that were often branded as Christmas Fan Club releases. In my opinion, that's what really puts this club over the top and quite possibly steals the Best Fan Club award, though I'm sure there are some Kiss fans out there that might disagree. For the last 1980s fan club on today's list, we choose the Nintendo Fun Club. In a previous episode, we talked about Nintendo Power and briefly mentioned the magazine that actually started out as a free newsletter, which began in 1987 by Gail Tilden and Fun Club president Howard Phillips. Well, to get that free newsletter, you had to sign up for the Nintendo Fun Club. After signing up, you received a small package that included a membership card, a welcome letter, a Super Mario Bros. Sticker, member offers, the first newsletter, and an entry postcard for a giveaway. The welcome letter explained that since you recently purchased an NES, you got a free introductory year to the Fun Club, which of course came with the free newsletters several times a year, with a newsstand price of $2.50 per issue. The letter goes on to explain that the membership card provided special member discounts on games as well as other perks. Unfortunately, the Fun Club only lasted for the length of 7 issues, racking up a reported 600,000 members, after which the newsletter transitioned into the official Nintendo Power magazine, the first issue of which was given away for free to members of the club as something that feels very much like a parting gift.
Finding enough new fan clubs to discuss in today's episode turned out to be a little harder than any of us here at RetroDaze anticipated. As mentioned during the introduction of this video, fan clubs started to drop off after the 1970s, and once we sorted through all the Star Trek clubs, there wasn't much left. Of course, maybe our writer just sucks at research, and there were indeed plenty of other clubs to choose from. So tell us, what did we miss? What 1980s fan clubs did you belong to? What fan clubs do you wish existed had there been enough interest? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments, and if you enjoy our content, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe even activating that ubiquitous notification bell. It really does make a huge difference. Let's meet again next week to celebrate Yesteryear right here on RetroDaze.
Clicky clacky.